People are saying that JK and Winter were seen together recently at the beach. We also have people pointing out that V liked a very specific dating or relationship post, as well as BTS fans being angry over Winter, as well as aespa in general. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Disci. Let's get into it. There's a few performances that people are talking about with Winter as well as the rest of the group, with some people pointing out the fact that a previous performance of Winter had gone viral over the BTS community, allegedly attacking. The performance shows what appears to me like Winter acting a little bit goofy because her choreography is goofy, and that's kind of the point. And people were also pointing out that the choreography is bad, or that they are confused as to why she is making such movements. It's interesting because the K-pop community takes entertainment very seriously. It's exactly why a lot of people within the K-pop community don't like to act goofy or silly, because it then leads them to have backlash. The stars themselves have to take everything super seriously, otherwise they will get made fun of, called embarrassing. And this is where I think fatigue comes into play, where people are seeing these really polished and perfect figures that can't laugh at themselves, can't make jokes, and then a lot of people outside the community, such as the Western culture, who values things like authenticity and people being goofy, tend to feel like there's a disconnect between them and the K-pop artist. And this maybe is good. There is a huge conversation within the K-pop community that talks about how K-pop now is too Western and they prefer it to go back. So maybe the idea of K-pop not appealing to the Western community is exactly what the K-pop community wants. A lot of people are pointing out the fact that Winter specifically is getting the bulk of the backlash, even though obviously the rest of the group is doing the same type of choreography. But she is the one that is being looked at under a microscope by the BTS community, because she is the one that is currently in a dating rumor with JK. So now she's put under a microscope because people are trying to figure out if she is a right fit for JK. This is where I feel like there is a severe line crossed, because whether or not you believe they are together, first of all, or whether or not you believe that they are indeed together and JK does not deserve her, that's not your place to make that opinion. You can't help who you end up liking if they are together. Just in general, for a relationship, you cannot help who you like. I would say most people end up with people that's not their original type. So someone that they thought they wanted, but ends up being the person that they're always dating and they're unsuccessful. And then they end up trying someone that's completely different, and they end up falling in love with that different person. And thus they realize that the particular standards that they had initially wasn't actually what they needed. That happens all the time. So we as the audience, or we as the fans, do not get to make that decision as to whether or not someone has a right or someone deserves to like someone else. This is on top of the fact that we literally do not know if they are in a relationship or not. I mean, the evidence is very weak from what I've seen. This has led to the entirety of the group aespa to get a lot of backlash. Recently, they performed at the Fact Music Awards, and there were a lot of people who were praising the performance in general because their dancing was really good, but then made accusations of lip syncing and those sorts of things. I don't really think there's a problem with lip syncing unless it's at a concert where people are paying to attend. But I don't think people pay to attend award shows. I think those seats are usually filled with either celebrities or seat fillers and less fans. Not none, but definitely less. And sometimes the seat fillers or the fans are paid to be there. So they're paid to be the ambiance, to clap, to cheer, all that stuff. I really don't think it's a problem if a celebrity decides to lip sync there. But we also have to consider that lip syncing is extremely interesting when it's seen through TV, because we can't tell. You might say, oh, it seems like the audio is slightly off, but that could just be a delay with the television and the audio sync coming through, and that happens all the time. Plus, if it's meant to be seen by this huge audience and they know they're going to be doing this really intense choreography, I don't really see an issue with them potentially lip syncing on TV. Now, of course, I'm defending that action without knowing whether or not they actually did do that or not. In my opinion, after watching it, does not seem like they did that at all. You can hear the breathing. So that's my opinion. If it comes out otherwise, then, I'll let you know. But these are very harsh things to say to a group, and not even just a group, but to people. And this is sometimes why I don't think it's a good idea to really look at celebrities in depth. One, because you're going to find something that doesn't fit what you like, even if it's not true. It's just, we're going to see things that we're going to assume it means something else, and we're just going to make an assumption, and we're going to typically skew negative. But we are all human, and we tend to do things that other people might not approve of. We tend to do things that are off-brand. For example, V was recently seen liking a post by the movie distributor A24. The movie distributor is essentially a studio or production company that takes the film and either makes it bigger, i.e. making a short into a feature length. So they'll typically put their own money to do that, and most importantly, they'll take the piece of work and they will distribute it into theaters or streaming channels, whatever. So it seems as if V liked a new upcoming film that was coming out, or might already be out now, I'm not entirely sure. The film is called Queer and was directed by the same director that did Call Me By Your Name. Now, we obviously know that that song in that movie had a specific impact on V, as he played some of the songs and the soundtrack on a piano. But knowing the film of Call Me By Your Name, as well as seeing some of the concept photos and screen grabs from Queer, it's quite obviously going to be what we expect it to be. And a lot of people think that this was the coming out account or the expressing that he is gay or whatever it is. This is a very interesting way to view things, because there were also, I think, 100,000 other people who liked the post. The chances of even half of those people being gay is probably pretty low. I would say the majority of those people probably aren't, and I would say the majority of the people who probably will go and see it in theaters might not be either. Being an ally or being someone who's interested in a specific type of culture is not evident of their own sexuality. For example, I can be supportive of a Black culture, Spanish culture, and I am, whatever culture, without being clearly part of those cultures biologically. And the bottom line is gay culture or queer culture has a huge culture. There's a huge history behind it. Some of the earliest people and settlement leaders were part of that community. They just couldn't vocalize that. And thus, it's something that has a lot of history behind it. If you want to add in things like LGBT culture, as well as just culture of coming out in modern day or in previous decades ago, then we're talking about pretty interesting stories and pretty underserved and understudied cultures. So this is interesting for anybody. This would be interesting for historians even to look back at 10, 20, 30,000 years from now. And it's interesting to people now as they try to navigate what the space is. Now, the one thing that I will say that might be a little bit controversial or something that might be uncomfortable is that if he is trying to figure this out for internal reasons, that's okay too. It doesn't mean that he is queer. It doesn't mean that he's part of the community. It just means that he's figuring it out. We all often get a chance to figure things out in college or wherever. He didn't have that chance. And there are so many people who will look inwards and try to see if they are gay just of curiosity. And if they're wondering that if they are, to obviously realize no, they're not, and they don't find men attractive at all. And as we all know, V has not been able to explore sexuality in any capacity. And the one way that you can explore that side without you ever actually needing to explore it physically is watching things, learning about it, seeing if you relate to it, and seeing if it makes sense to you. So while I don't think he's doing any of these things, I think he is just being an ally, just learning things, and he's just trying to understand culture. The idea of him potentially doing these things is not out of the norm, strange, or indicative of sexuality either. Other wild things I've seen online is just this idea that Winter and JK were at the beach together. Some of the photos that have been clipped or shown up where JK was seen at the beach, and then another photo shows Winter at the beach with a shirtless muscular man way off in the distance behind her. The photo that we see of JK and the close-up picture that we see is where he is with the rest of the BTS members, because most of them went to the beach together a little while ago. Obviously, if you crop out some of the other members, that's where you get this picture. Some people had done that. Other people had just found a photo on Google that was already cropped to make this narrative. Then it, of course, then appears like JK is alone and must be one other person or is on a date or whatever. But the image that we see of Winter and this alleged muscular man in the distance is not really indicative of anyone that we really know, because it's just someone at the beach. Could be a fellow muscular man that's at the beach, right? And there usually are so many. That person is so far in the distance to see any visual tattoos or, of course, any facial features, so we really don't know who that person is. Obviously, from these posts, when we're looking at JK and Winter, they're taken at different days. And as I said before, JK was also not alone in this picture. People believe that this was a sign that Winter was trying to leak this information or that she deleted it. I believe it was posted on her story, so I believe it might have just gotten deleted on its own. But either way, as we are seeing over and over again, the evidence to put these two together in a relationship is very weak. And I'm wondering if the evidence was created simply because they did not want JK and V or JK and Jimin to be seen together. And that's why this rumor was pushed so hard. And I'm starting to believe that, because oftentimes when I look at some of these dating rumors that don't make any sense, if you go deeper, it's a very strange group of people trying to orchestrate that. And of course, I'm not saying the shipping community is very strange. I am saying the shipping community has a subset of people that act very strange and do things like this. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. It allows me to keep making videos here. So if you're interested in becoming a paid subscriber and supporting, then make sure you check it out. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.